Being a kidney transplant patient, I take a lot of medication several times a day. I want to share with you a few things that I have found that have helped me make sure I can keep up with my changing medications and making sure I don't miss a dose. Building habits early. When I was on dialysis, I had to take some different binders, vitamins, blood pressure medicines, and my goal was to one day get a kidney transplant. I knew the importance of taking those medications, and I had a rough idea of what the schedule might look like. I decided to take the initiative and start building a routine very similar to what I envisioned things would look like. It gave me the opportunity to start playing around with different applications, different situations throughout the year that I might face, and really get things nailed down when things weren't quite as critical. Just to give you an idea what that has looked like for me, immune suppression medication is taken every 12 hours. They like to draw labs on you just before you're due to take your next batch of medication to ensure that you have the proper amount in your system even at the lowest point. So what I did is I made a call to my local labs, figure out what time they open. And in my case, it was 6:30 a.m. Since I'm an early riser, I started planning my schedule around that. So I started taking my medications at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. to start getting into that routine and working out some of those bugs. Now that I'm post-kidney transplant here, I'm actually getting my labs done at 7 and taking my medications at 7:30 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. So it really wasn't too far off. When it comes time to remind myself to actually take my medications, my very first line of defense is actually my cell phone alarm. It's very easy to set up repeating daily alarms. It's a very loud alarm, and my cell phone is almost always on me, so it works really well for myself. If I'm right in the middle of doing something and my alarm goes off and I can't take my medications, instead of hitting the stop button, I actually hit the snooze button on that and keep hitting the snooze button until I've actually physically taken my medications. That way it just continues to nag me until I get the job done. So my second line of defense is actually using an application on my cell phone. There are a lot of great ones out there. Some of them are paid for, some of them are free. I've been using a pretty popular one called Medisafe. The main reason I selected this one, it was free and it had reoccurring alarms and you actually had to acknowledge that you took that medication. Been using it for the last 2 years and it's a little hard to think about switching now, but it's a very, very powerful tool. The other really nice function that I like with it is I can have all the list of all my meds in there and the quantities that I take. Pretty nice, especially when I end up having to go in for labs and they need to make some changes, because a lot of times I'll get a call in the afternoon while I'm at work. So just having it right there in the palm of my hand, I can update that and always have a current record for it. It's also a pretty powerful tool. There are a lot of additional features in there. For example, you can manage all your prescriptions. You can put your RX number in there. So say you're ever on the road, you lose medication or you need to refill one, you have all the information right in the palm of your hand. And then two, you can actually put even the quantities of those medications that you have at home and get reminders to refill your prescription with the pharmacy. So for me, when trying to build my habits, one of the things I struggled the most with was making sure I actually had my medications with me. There'd be too many times I'd leave the house with the intention of getting back home in a couple hours. Next thing you know, time flies by and I'm approaching the times I need to be taking my medication and nowhere near home. Also, trying to prepare for the worst, you really never know what life's gonna throw you. You can end up breaking down on the side of the road. Having a couple extra spare sets of meds with you can be really helpful, especially if you end up forgetting your meds. So one way I've been trying to combat this is store some extra meds in some climate controlled places that I tend to frequent often. So for example, my desk at work, I stick an extra set in my lunchbox, maybe set an extra set in my wife's purse or in a backpack, something that I tend to be around. So if I do end up forgetting my meds, I have a backup plan. One addition I also added to my arsenal was purchasing a little waterproof metal med canister that hooks onto your keychains. I can store my whole AM or PM medications in one single unit, and this thing does expand out to 3 units. So you can fit a whole lot of meds in this thing, and they're always right there with you. So one challenge that I'm currently trying to work on is figure out some sort of rotation system. I think worst case scenario, finally need to use these medications. I go to grab them and they're old and expired or the wrong medications. Right now I'm trying to work through that a little bit. If you have any tips, ideas, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. I know this sounds pretty basic, but a pill organizer. There's a reason doctors are always recommending these things. Helps keep your medications all scheduled. Make sure you take the right medications in the right quantities at the right time so you don't get a big mix-up. There are a lot of different varieties out there. I would personally recommend one that allows you to take out an individual day or maybe even a specific time period. That way you don't need to take your pill organizer with you every time you leave the house. Obviously, a very important thing of making sure you take your medication on time is It's making sure you actually have those medications. So when it comes time to manage your prescriptions at your pharmacy, if they have an auto renew feature, I would definitely recommend enabling that. A lot of times doctors write a prescription 3 refills by such and such date. And by enabling that auto refill, as you start approaching that end date, the pharmacy will automatically start getting in contact with the doctor to get that prescription renewed. If you wait to the last minute and you call in your prescription, it could put you in a little bit of jeopardy. Another thing, if you have mail order, I personally have found mail order pharmacies a lot of times to be cheaper. Also, some insurance companies will allow you to get a 90-day supply at a time instead of 30, so you're saving yourself obviously a lot of trips back and forth to the pharmacy every year. And I found that I can get a 90-day supply for the price that it would normally cost to get 30 days. They automatically just refill the medications for me. A few days before my prescriptions are due, they just show up in the mail. A lot of times they even send me tracking information. The one downside I found with mail order pharmacies is there's usually a little bit of a delay. So if you got put on a new medication today and you need to start that right away, it takes that pharmacy several days to get it out to you. So when I run that case, I request my medical care team to send it to a local pharmacy where I can pick that up and then get that prescription moved over to a mail order if it's something I'm gonna be staying on long term. I hope this video can help someone out. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.